Hello. We're gonna try this again because my internet totally just crapped out like in the middle of that. So we're just gonna start over, okay? Hi. If this is your first time seeing me here, my name is Janae, and I am a women's success coach. I pretty much work with women who are emerging entrepreneurs to help them develop the courage and the confidence in order to actually like upscale where they are. And so they have been struggling with lack of confidence and questioning themselves and burnout and all of those things. And those are things that I absolutely love to dive into. So if that sounds like you, welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. If this is your first time watching me and you are watching on YouTube, then make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Boy, that was smooth. Make sure you hit the button and also the bell so that you will be notified whenever new videos come on. Videos are actually every Monday and Wednesday, so that's awesome. And if you are watching on Facebook and you're like, hey, whoa, where do I find your YouTube? Check around. I don't know, it's up here somewhere around. And you will find my YouTube link and you can totally go and binge watch all the videos there. Literally, there's no shame because I would do the same thing. So if that's you, awesome, awesome. We're going to cross our fingers and hope that this thing does not disconnect because it totally just did that in the middle. So today I want to talk a little bit about how to actually up level your financial situation. I feel like I've been on a roll for the last 2 weeks of having uncomfortable conversations. And so I'm just going to like embrace this. And I would love to know what you're thinking. So if you're watching this and you're like, hey, I have thoughts on what you're saying, go ahead and add them in the chat. Oh, and I can remove this and I will like put them up on screen. Okay, cool. So some of the things that I hear a lot when it comes to up leveling or just like changing where you're at. So I'm going to preface this really quick. This video is really for someone who has been frustrated with their financial situation. They know that they want more. However, they also have the feeling of like, who am I to want more? And like, I don't know if I can really do that. And also just that feeling of like discomfort in terms of getting out of your comfort zone. If that is you, awesome, awesome. Keep watching. Some of the things that I hear that are absolutely critical when I talk about just like the topic of finance, because this is actually something that I nerd out on, like specifically a little bit about my background is I studied, I am an engineer. I studied, went to school to be an engineer. So I totally nerd out on spreadsheets and numbers and things like that. And so it kind of fits so well into finance. You know what I'm saying? So first thing that I hear a lot is that fear of being afraid to face the facts, of actually knowing what your current situation is. Another thing that I hear a lot is like, hey, I've tried stuff. I have even maybe like watched Dave Ramsey's videos or whatever other like extreme method that you like to choose. And I just don't think it can work for me. I tried it and I did it for a while. And this whole like ramen lifestyle just wasn't for me. Awesome. I feel you. The thing that they're looking for is like, hey, I'm looking for financial freedom. I'm looking to be able to make decisions that are not based on like dollars. Like, hey, if I want to go to this place, I can go to that place and I don't have to worry about it. And I think that's like a nice goal to have, and it's totally possible. So, some of the biggest pitfalls that I see when I'm talking to people on this specific topic is like that mentality of like, oh my gosh, I've allowed this thing to get so big that I kind of just want to like look the other way and like ignore the fact that it's there in order to just like put myself at ease and not have to actually deal with it. Another one is kind of like that like other extremes of like ignoring it is one extreme. The other extreme would be like YOLO, I don't care. I'm already in this bad situation or maybe a situation that I really just don't jive with. So I'm just gonna like not care and maybe it'll go away, right? And then there's like some place in the middle. Cool. So, the big idea behind like kind of how this works is if you remember that analogy of like sweeping things under the rug, I feel like it's so easy to do that when it comes to like building wealth, financial situation, all those things. And that can be in the positive sense or in the negative sense. So it can be like, hey, I have these issues. I've been seeing these red flags. I know that this is a problem. And yeah, I'm just going to like keep ignoring it. And then one day you're going to like trip on it and fall on your face, which is not cool. Or it could be like, hey, I've like set myself up for success. I like put away some, or like I plan for my future. I've been ignoring it. And then like I have like a nice hill to lay on at the end of this. Okay. So the first thing, if you're like, okay, so like now what? the first thing is to actually get super clear on exactly where you are right now. I did this. I actually do this like multiple times a year where I like lay it all out just to get like the lay of the land in terms of where I'm at. And how this ties to leaving your not so great financial situation behind is it pretty much gives you, I might sneeze. If I keep like rubbing my nose, I'm like, I can feel it. Don't sneeze. Maybe now that I said that, it won't happen. Anyways, okay. So get really clear on your situation that you have. So I actually like go through all of the numbers of like where I am. And even like if you have debt, like go through all of it, like get it, like not like, oh, I think I owe this. Like, no, no, no. I want it like to the cent, like the whole thing laid out where if someone asked you today, I don't think anyone's going to ask you this, but if they did, you could be like, this is exactly how much I owe to the cent. Or this is how much I have in savings to the cent. Just getting super, super clear about the situation that you are currently in. And you might be like, but I don't really want to do that. And the reason that it's so important for us to get that clarity is because this is literally the equivalent of like when you get in your car, if you use your GPS, say that you have a goal that you're trying to get to, and you're like, yeah, that's that thing that I really want to do. But the first thing that your GPS is looking for is like, where are you currently located? I see where you want to go. This is where you are. And from there, I can give you a couple different routes of how to get there. But the problem is if you go into the situation of talking about wealth, of talking about finances, and we just have this goal that we're setting out there of like, this is where I want to go to, but you're not addressing where you are currently, it's literally impossible to develop a plan to get there. At that point, we're just doing crab shots, and like typically that doesn't work out in our favor. So in order for us to actually make progress, it's so important for us to have a starting point. And there's no reason to beat yourself up of wherever that starting point is, because it's not about judgment. It's actually just about like getting clear. It's something that it's not good or bad. It just is. And so the sooner that we can wrap our heads around like, okay, this is what my situation is currently, and knowing that where you are is not who you are. That's what some of the life coaches that I've learned a ton from say all the time. Then that will help you be able to actually develop that map to where it is that you want to go. I'm gonna take a breath. Okay, cool. So after you get super clear about where you are, what I want you to do is to set, I am going to use the B word and say budget. I want you to set a budget. And if you don't like the word budget, screw budget and just say that you are going to set your spending plan of how you plan to allocate dollars. And the importance of doing that is to actually create a plan that works for you. So often we have these like, I don't know, sheets that we pull off of Google or whatever other places that you find like those like blanket template things, or maybe you don't have one at all. I don't know. But sometimes we have those like blanket template ones where it's like, oh, it's about this much, but we have never actually gone through the process of figuring out like what our actual month to month things are. And also acknowledging that like these things change month to month. Every single month is not the same. Like, when it's Christmas time, okay, I am buying gifts and presents and all the things. And that's not the same as like what my average June looks like. So I feel like whenever you're making this plan, it's best for you to go ahead and make it something that actually works. Because if you make it something that works, then it becomes more exciting and it becomes something that you can leverage instead of something that you're like, okay, I tried it, I set these ideal numbers, and then I saw my numbers did not match. And therefore, I now feel deflated. I now feel like I'm not able to do this. And there's clearly something that I'm missing that other people have been able to master. None of that is true. So I want you to go ahead and like clear all of that from your processing, because that's just not the case. It's really just about setting up something that works for you. And with all of this, everything that I talk about, and especially finances, budgeting, all of these topics, the most important thing that I can say to you is creating something that actually works for you. But I want you to be real about it, and I want you to have a plan that will actually work for you that feels doable. So often things are made so complex in the name of like sounding smart, but really we just need something that's simplified. Like people look for accountability because things get so complex about what they're doing, but really if we could just make it simple and make it work for us, you don't need to do all of that. So what I want you to do, step one, get super clear about your situation. Step two, set up a actual plan that will work for you. And if you are feeling like, but I can't, but all of these things, then what I want you to do is to go ahead and hop on over to the free community that I have. It is linked in this post, and it is a place where I literally like give you tools, techniques that you can use to help conquer the way that you are thinking about it, the patterns that you have developed, and the programming that you have specific to this area. Because the fact is, if we are already hearing like a plan of like, oh, that sounds really nice, but I'm already coming up with reasons internally of why I can't do it, that's a sign that there's a program that's running there in the background. And those are things that we can change. So if that's you and you're like, hey, I actually do want to take a step towards having change actually happen, then what you can do is hop on over to that group, and you will find in a like ridiculous amount of support there and a lot of information for you that are already set up there and all the guides and stuff like that. So if you have any questions about this, go ahead and post them in the chat and I will come back to them later. Otherwise, I hope that you have an amazing week and I will be back here on Monday. Okay, see ya. Bye.